All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden force. It's a system that's quietly running the show, shaping your life, your work, and, well, pretty much the entire world around you. You ever think about that? Like, why does one trend explode overnight while another just fizzles out? Why can a tiny disagreement with a friend spiral into a huge fight? Or, on the flip side, how does your body know exactly when to shiver or sweat to keep you comfortable? Well, the answer isn't magic, and it's not just random luck. It's a fundamental pattern, a process that, once you see it, I promise, you are going to start seeing it everywhere. So let's get into what it is. At its core, a feedback loop is actually pretty simple. You do something, that action creates a result, and then that result feeds back and influences the next time you do that same action. It's this simple cycle that drives both massive growth and incredible stability. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. It turns out that every single one of these feedback loops falls into one of two big categories. You can think of them as the gas pedal and the brakes for pretty much any system. So on one hand, you've got reinforcing loops. These are the accelerators. They just amplify whatever's happening. And on the other hand, you've got balancing loops. These are the stabilizers. They pump the brakes, they regulate things. Getting the difference between these two is the key to understanding, well, just about everything. Let's start with that accelerator, the reinforcing loop. The best way to picture it is a small snowball rolling down a really big hill. As it rolls, it picks up more snow, right? It gets bigger. And because it's bigger, it picks up even more snow, even faster. That, right there, is a reinforcing loop in action. These loops are all about momentum. The more you have of something, the more you get. Now, this can be an amazing thing, like compound interest, making your savings grow. Or it can be kind of terrifying, like how misinformation can spread like wildfire online. And here's a tragic, very real-world example of a reinforcing loop, the poverty cycle. Each step feeds directly into the next. It creates this trap that's so hard to break out of because the system is reinforcing itself at every turn. Each problem just makes the next one worse, and that locks the whole cycle in place. But here's the thing about reinforcing loops. They can't go on forever. A fire eventually runs out of fuel. A viral trend hits a saturation point. They're naturally unstable. If you just leave them alone, they almost always end in some kind of burnout or collapse. So now, let's flip the coin and look at the other force, the force of stability. If the reinforcing loop is a runaway snowball, the balancing loop is more like a thermostat, always making tiny adjustments to stay on target. I mean, this is a perfect, simple example we see every day. The system has a goal, that perfect temperature you set. The moment the room deviates from that goal, say it gets too cold, the loop kicks in, turns on the heat, and brings things right back to where they should be. It's totally self-regulating. And get this, your own body is a walking, talking masterclass in balancing loops. This process is called homeostasis, and it's working 24/7 to keep you stable. You get too hot, you sweat. That cools you down. You get too cold, you shiver. That generates heat. Your body is just constantly course-correcting. Okay, so let's zoom out again, because now that you know what you're looking for, I guarantee you're going to start seeing these two loops, the accelerator and the stabilizer, in every single corner of your life. Just look at this. A stock market crash. Classic reinforcing loop of panic, feeding more panic. But the economic idea of supply and demand? That's a balancing loop, with prices always adjusting to find a middle ground. An argument that gets out of hand is a reinforcing loop. But building trust with someone over years, that's a balancing loop, where consistent, good actions keep the relationship stable. And you know, this isn't some brand new idea. The economist Adam Smith was talking about this stuff centuries ago. He saw that the way people approve or disapprove of our actions is just a giant feedback system that guides us. It's the balancing loop that holds society together. So this brings us to the most important part. You don't have to just sit back and let these systems happen to you. Once you understand how they work, you can actually start building better loops in your own life, on purpose. So here's your toolkit. First, you have to start treating feedback as just data. The world is always giving you information. Your job is to listen, but also to filter out the noise. Not all of it is useful.
It's about thinking long-term, so you can work with the systems around you, not fight against them.
From there, every single thing you do just becomes another rep, another iteration. It's not pass or fail. It's what did I learn from that? That's how you get better at skills, and it's how you build trust through positive, consistent actions. And a huge piece of this is self-reflection, looking at your own patterns, especially online, where it's so easy to get swept up in those reinforcing loops of what everyone else is saying. So I want you to take a second and actually think about that. What's a reinforcing loop that's picking up steam in your life, good or bad? Maybe a new fitness habit, or maybe a growing feeling of burnout. And what's a balancing loop that's keeping you grounded? Your morning coffee routine? A solid friendship? Because that's what this all comes down to. You are not just a passenger living inside these systems. You are a designer. By understanding how feedback loops work, you get the tools to dismantle the vicious cycles that hold you back and to build the positive ones that will propel you forward. The blueprint is yours.